Hi, this is DIY Just from DIYNexus. Today's subject is a Craftsman Premium 3/8 inch drive 84 tooth ratchet, model number 2548. User Mike Baker 1129 from the Garage Journal forums was extremely generous and lent this to me to do some videos. These ratchets are somewhat rare, since they were only made for a few years and are no longer produced. This ratchet is brand new, but we're going to disassemble, inspect, clean, and re-lube it. Good maintenance will help keep this in top shape for years to come. Before disassembly, I noticed that the action doesn't have the best feel. When you spin the anvil with some off-axis torque, it binds a bit. Here's an example. Straight on. Spins okay, but if you take this off axis at all, either direction, it gets tighter and really binds at some points. This could be that it just needs to be broken in, or it could have a little bit of dirt inside. Let's see if a cleaning helps. First thing we'll do is disassemble it. Here are the tools I used to complete the job. I'll put a list and some links in the description below. If you purchase anything through those links, you'll help support us, which we appreciate. A 1/16 inch Allen key, small flat-headed screwdriver, some needle nose pliers, Loctite glue, cleaner, and some 3-in-1 oil. First, we need to remove the two 1/16 inch Allen screws in the head. They actually felt like they had a little bit of Loctite on them, so we'll be sure to use some on reassembly. To get the cover plate off, we want to grab the anvil, shake it a little, and pull it upward. Separate these two pieces, and when you do, you'll notice that the anvil has an O-ring, making this a partially sealed head ratchet. Inside the ratchet body is the pawl, and you can see the label says 84-3/8. That just is loose and can get removed. The selector switch has a small plunger with a spring behind it. I'll use some needle nose pliers, or if you have small hands, you might be able to get it by hand. Pull straight out. Now to get the selector switch out, you just push it, possibly wiggle, and do a little twisting. You can see this also has an O-ring. You can clearly see that this was lubed from the factory with oil. Now that it's fully disassembled, we're going to clean the parts. Now that all the parts are clean, it's time to inspect them. We'll start with the handle and body. This looks to be in good shape. However, you want to check inside here where all the parts are. Look for wear or for burrs or anything that could impede the movement. In this case, it's new, and you can see that it's not really broken in by the fact that the machining marks are there's barely even a wear mark here where it would spin. Hopefully that's clear. And this bottom surface where the pawl would sit also needs to be very smooth so it can move back and forth easily. This is a little rough, so it might need a little more break-in. Here's the cover plate. It's also very smooth and doesn't look worn at all. You can see the small marks from wear there for break-in. On the anvil, you want to check a few different things. First off, if the O-ring happens to come off during cleaning, just go ahead and reinstall it. You want to make sure that the ball functions properly, going in and out. That the surfaces that would touch metal are clean and free of issues. Again, this looks brand new. Same with this side. And that the teeth aren't damaged. Same thing goes for the selector switch's O-ring. If it happens to come off, reinstall it and inspect it for any damage. This looks brand new. The pawl on these 3/8 inch drive ratchets is quite small, and when you're looking at it you want to verify that the teeth are sharp and they aren't worn, and that there are no burrs on the bottom side, actually on any of the sides, that could impede smooth movement. This one looks okay. Lastly is the little plunger and spring. Sometimes when you clean it, this can come apart. If it does, you can find it because it oftentimes flies across the room. Put it back, just push it back in and put it back together. This looks good too. The screws look good, and as long as you use the right tool to remove them and install them, you shouldn't round out the head. After the inspection, we'll lube it. Viewers of my other videos know that I usually use super lube to lubricate most ratchets. This one's a bit different though. In my Ratchet Lubrication Basics video, my first rule is to use what the manufacturer recommends. In this case, the cover plate is stamped with "Keep clean and oiled." If I were to use a thicker grease-type lube, it could cause the mechanism to skip teeth, drag, or even freewheel. Although super lube has great performance, it's more viscous than oil, which could negatively affect this ratchet's mechanism. 3-in-1 oil is a good choice for this application. As I'm reassembling this, I'll put a light coating of oil on everything, starting with the body. Make sure you coat all the interior surfaces with a light coating. It doesn't need to be heavy at all. The next piece is the selector lever. Then the small plunger and spring. Now the pawl. Remember, when we took it apart, we could read the teeth side, so you want to put it back in the same way. Now on to the anvil and gear. But before we put it in, we want to make sure we lubricate the small ball here. I'm going to use a screwdriver to push the ball down while I put a drop of oil on it. Then just push it up and down to work the oil into the hole. Now we can lube the rest of it. And reinstall it by putting it at an angle against the pawl and lightly pushing down and in. It should fall straight in. Lastly, we're going to lubricate and install the cover plate. We're going to use a little bit of Loctite glue on the screws before assembly. Be careful not to get oil on the screws because it will prevent this from working properly. All back together. We'll clean it up and test it. We're all done. It works pretty good and doesn't seem to be binding quite as bad. I think this will improve as it's used over time. I'm happy with the outcome. A big thank you goes out to Mike Baker 1129 for making this video possible. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you like this video, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. As always, thanks for watching.